Hello everyone, this is Preeti Rani Rajvanshi, Assistant Professor, School of IT, IMS Noida. And in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the cloud computing architecture. As in our previous lecture, we have discussed about the cloud computing definition, the basic terminology of cloud computing like SaaS, IaaS, PaaS, service models, the public, private, hybrid, and community cloud, and the issues in cloud. So, in that video, we had just discussed the meaning of that terminology, what is all about, and everything. Now, we will discuss about the cloud computing architecture, and in this architecture, we will discuss about the two types of architecture. Okay, so first we'll discuss about the first type of architecture, that is the we divide our cloud architecture into two parts. First is stack, the cloud stack, and the actors. So what is stack? Stack is a procedure in the data structure as well, that we have last in first out procedure. So in this stack, we have a cloud stack procedure architecture in which we have a layered architecture of our services. Then we have actors. That means what all are other uh, actors who are taking part into this communication, or you can say transaction of cloud computing. Okay, so providers are the actors. The major actors are the cloud providers, then cloud consumers, then cloud brokers, then cloud auditors, then cloud carriers. So these are the actors which are performing the activities, or you can say the transactions in the cloud computing. Uh, Say, for example, we are the customer and we need some services, so we will go to providers. Okay, if we need a platter of service from different providers, we'll go to broker, and broker will suggest us the providers and the services. Then we go. If we talk about the auditing part, that if our services are going well or as per our requirement or not, services and security and privacy. So, excuse me. Then we go for auditor, is the fourth actor. Last but not the least, the cloud carriers who provide the uh, maintain the transport, or you can say transaction or communication between customer, service, and provider. Okay, let's see it the further. So this is the layered architecture of the stack. There we have our hardware layer, which is called the physical layer. Then we have virtualization layer, that is a layer which is providing us the architecture, layer architecture of on which we are using Zen, VMware, or hypervisor, so that we can use underlying hardware without paying any without taking any into consideration the management or development or the buying or everything. We will get it through the service provider. Then we have a layer in which we have virtual machines. VM means virtual machine. So we put our operating system, we put our everything on these virtual machines, which is provided by the service provider. This is called the infrastructure as a service. So we are not maintaining our infrastructure. We are not making our infrastructure or developing our infrastructure. We are just using it, which is provided by the other service provider. Then we have next layer, which is the platform as a service. That means it is provided us to provide or to develop some services for the upper layer, that is the software as a service, means for the users. Okay, so let's discuss about the actors. So in the first slide, we discuss about the actors. So these are the actors: service provider, cloud consumer, broker, auditor, and cloud carrier. Okay, so why I boxed it cloud service provider? Because these are the services provided by the service provider only, and we are just using it. Be it Google Drive, be it Google Doc, or Gmail, or Facebook, or Twitter, or anything, or you can say Microsoft 365. Everything is provided by the service providers. Okay, So now we'll discuss about the working style or working area of actors of cloud architecture. So in this we have cloud service providers, which is manages the cloud stack, makes it develop it, and makes it available for the consumer. They provide the service management, they provide the security and privacy. Everything is the responsibility of these service providers. Okay. Second actor is our second actor is the cloud consumer. Who is going to use your service? The provider make the service, develop it, and provide it. Who to whom it will provide it to? The consumer. So consumer have the catalog. It will browse service catalog and request for service. Then sets up the contract and SLA. SLA is the service level agreement. That means I'll get these services. If we'll not get these services, it will be the criteria, or this will be the SLA time, or everything is mentioned in there, and it is the legal document. Then we use the services and then make the payment. Okay, if this is just simple, like you go to a restaurant, you go for the menu card, you request for the services, and then you got the services, you use the services and make the payment. Okay, then we have other procedure, like the cloud brokers. In this scenario, in today's scenario, cloud brokers are very you can say in the market, because when we got to know about the federated cloud. The federated cloud means the cloud which the providers are having services. Different providers have different services, and all these services have some benefits and some pros and cons. So, say for example, I am the consumer and I need best service in cheap and best price. Okay. So I'll go to broker, I select these services, and this is my budget. So provide the broker will provide me the services, the platter of service, that you can buy this from Amazon, you can buy this from Google, you can buy this from Microsoft, you can buy this from Salesforce, and this will be your the platter. So broker works like an intermediary part. Okay, so it will negotiate between cloud provider and consumer and services intermediary. It will work like. Then federated cloud, I mentioned a word, federated cloud. Uh, Let me give you a brief introduction about it. The federated cloud is the cloud in which the several different services from different service providers provide in a shared environment, in the resource pooling environment. That means the multi-tenancy environment. Multi-tenancy is what? It's all about the single resource shared by several people with the security and privacy. Then we have our fourth actor, that is the auditor. It conducts independent assessment of cloud services, security audits, and privacy audits. That means if I rent out some service from any service provider, will it be working like what I want? Like I want this to work like this. Is it working like that only, or if there are some problems? If there are some problems, the auditor will make me understand that these are the problems and everything. Then the fifth, or you can say last, or but not the least, there are several other actors as well. The carrier. Okay, so it provides connectivity and transport of cloud service from provider to customer. So, say I'll give you the example to make it understand easily. So, if we are using a banking service and a debit card, okay, so that debit card is not from bank, it is not from the customer, it is from the service provider, be it Visa, Mastro, Mastercard, or RuPay. Okay, that service provider provides a extended service to bank, that if you want to use my service, so we will share a you can share my resources or for online, and I'll share your data on my resources so that your users can use it. So if I get the Visa card, I have Visa card from SBI, I have Visa card from ICICI Bank, I have Visa card from Axis Bank. So Visa is providing services to everyone. Okay, so you can get your service at your own things, and bank will provide you those services. These are services not developed by bank, but these are services provided by the banks. But provider is the carrier. These are the carriers. Okay, so next is the cloud stack architecture. As I already discussed, that there are some data centers, network, everything is which is required a hardware. The hardware part is totally maintained by the service providers. We don't need to worry about its maintenance, its buying, its cost, or anything. We just need to put our instances on it. So consist of thousands of nodes grouped together like data centers, and it is responsible for communicating between hardware devices and the higher layers. That is called the physical layer. Then we have next layer, the virtualization layer. So in which we have a virtualization layer, and on the top of it we got the virtual machines. So those virtual machines are the part of infrastructure as a service, and on these virtual machines we work like we will upload our things, we make our setup on as per our requirement. We whatever the hardware we need, the service provider will provide us, and this is called the key enabling techniques. And this is the pool of virtual resources. Virtual machines are created from the underneath physical resources. Then we have platform as a service. As I already discussed, we have several platforms on which we can develop our services and provide it to the others. There, Hadoop, Java, Python, Ruby, MySQL, Rails, Ruby on Rails. Everything is available. Okay. Then we have software as a service, and these comes the service layers. So SaaS, PaaS, and ES. Okay, so these are the cloud applications. So social network applications, ERP, web portals, web services. So basically, we are using it either from browser or from the mobile device or from the tablet. So these are the services we are using. We don't know about the functionality of these services. These services are developed by platform as a service. So we need to understand the development part from platform as a service, and we got the platform from that only. Those platform will be developed on some infrastructure. That infrastructure will be the infrastructure as a service, virtual machines. Okay. So now the second type of architecture is the 345 architecture. So if you think like this, you don't understand what is 345 architecture. So let me make you understand what is 345 architecture. That means three cloud services, four cloud development models, and five essential characteristics of cloud computing. Like this: three services, four cloud deployment models, and these five essential characteristics. Okay, so this is the visual model of cloud computing provided by NIST. So now the essential characteristics: on-demand self-service, as I already discussed in the first lecture, that this on-demand service, that a customer can have the provision computing capabilities such as server time and network storage as needed automatically without requiring any human interaction with the service provider. You just click on the service portal, ask for it, and it will be yours. Then we have broad access network. The capabilities are available over the network and accessed through standard mechanism that promotes use of heterogeneous thin and thick clients like mobile phone, laptop, and PDS. Then we have resource pooling. There are several physical resources which are pooled, and people are using it in the shared environment. So this is pooling. Then we have rapid elasticity. You can scale up and scale out at any point. At any point means any point, and you have to pay just for that time, which is which at what time it is yours on your account. Then we have measured services. So cloud system automatically control everything and optimize resources uses by leveraging and metering the capabilities at some level of abstraction appropriate to the types of service providers. Okay. Then we have the cloud service models. This service model is also called SPI model. That means the software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So we already discussed about this in the last lectures, but I would like to make you understand few points. Like because consumer does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure, but has control over operating system, storage, deployed applications, and possibly limited control of select networking components. Okay. Then we have platform as a service. The consumer doesn't manage or control the architecture, but including network, server, operating system, and storage, but has control over the deployed application and possibly application hosting, environment configuration. Then the customer does not manage or control the underlying or server operating system, with the possible exception of limited user-specific application configuration settings. This is the model. Web browser we are using thin client, thick client, mobile app, web browser. These are the application platform and infrastructure. Each layer need the other layer. So lower layer supports upper layer and upper layer supports lower layer. So SaaS needs PaaS, PaaS needs IaaS. Okay. Then we have four cloud deployment models: public, private, community, and hybrid. So I already discussed this in the last lecture. When to choose public, when to choose private, when to choose hybrid, when to choose community. So cloud infrastructure is made public, available for general public, or a large industry group is owned by an organization selling cloud services. Then private, so for single organization. Then community, it is for a specific community that shared the concern. Okay. Then we have hybrid. So if we mix our service between private or public or community, that will become the hybrid cloud. This is the public cloud. Okay, environment is public for everyone. Then we have private cloud. So we have private cloud for this enterprise. This private cloud is for this. Then we have hybrid. If we use this private cloud and this public cloud, and this organization is using it, so private cloud is you can say on premise, but that is not physically possible. Because we are using in virtualization, but it seems like it is on premise. Okay. Then we have community cloud. That means we are maintaining a cloud shared which is shared partially for some services. Like I want to share this with this company, so we work like this in community cloud. Okay, so these are the pros and cons. You can say plus are the pros and minus are the cons. So minuses are the security, lock-in, reliability, and lack of control. The pluses are scale and cost, scale is encapsulation, change management, next generation architecture, and choice and agility. Okay, so this is all about from my side. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe the channel. And I would suggest please go through the entire concept, because these are the concept which is used in the whole syllabus, and you can say in the whole units, because everything is interrelated. Unit 2 have service model in details. Unit 3 have some other things like services, collaborative services in detail. Then we have unit 4 with the virtualization in detail. Then we have fifth unit for the security parameters and security services by the cloud computing in detail. So each and everything is very much important for you people to understand that cloud computing is a thing which is having some pros and cons. But in this scenario, like we are using everything from home, we are working from home from last 4 to 5 months, and we don't know for how much time we are going to work like this. So private clouds are more efficient, but it's costly. If we are thinking about that, if we work upon public cloud, it will be shared with everyone. No, it has some security features, but these are not like this key that your data is fully secure. Okay, so there are some levels of security and privacy in the each cloud deployment model. Okay, so thank you so much. Keep sharing and keep learning. Thank you. Bye bye.